Evening, everyone. So it's Friday, February 7th. It's 8:15. We just want to apologize. We weren't able to go live last week. We had a bit tied up with a few meetings, and then we really wanted to go, but we decided we'll just push it for this week. So, Asim, how's your last few weeks been?
It's been really busy. We
Yeah.
were working in the market, and I mean, it's crazy. I mean, even though the market is overall slow,
Yeah.
but we were busy, right? And that's why we were not able to make it to the podcast last time.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, we've had meetings this week, but honestly, we've been speaking with agents, we've been speaking with clients, and based on their experience, and I guess you can say with our experience overall, the market is slow right now.
Yeah, market is very slow right now.
Yeah. There's not many buyers right now that I feel like they are interested, but they're just hesitant to make that move. That's what I
Yeah, they
feel.
are reluctant, maybe because of the tariffs. There's so many other things going on,
Right.
and yeah,
Yeah.
that's the reason I believe. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's a fear of uncertainty right now. Obviously, we saw what happened last week with the tariffs, and I think that was kind of that kind of scared some people. Right now, it's on a pause, so there's no tariffs in place, but you just don't know. You just don't know with the guy in charge on south of the border, and we'll see what happens, how it plays out. But I think that did translate to a little bit of a fear, and but you know what, the market's been slow before that as well. But the rates are going down. We feel like things are going to recover and get better this year,
Mhm.
but we just want to be transparent that yeah, it's been challenging
Yeah.
for the last month and a half.
It's been a couple of years we were saying that the market is going down and it's a good time to buy, but it's been forever, right?
I think there's really good opportunities out there, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna discuss that today on the stream for people that have a long-term view of getting into the market, whether as a first-time home buyer, which we're gonna discuss, or as a investor. Definitely some good opportunities. So, Asim, what are we gonna discuss on the stream today? What's the main thing?
Today, I think we'll go over the market report first,
Right.
and then we'll discuss the first-time home buying process and the first-time home buyers step by step.
Yeah, so we're going to briefly touch upon the market report for the month of January 2025 and just go over it very briefly, and then Asim's going to jump into the first time home buyer process. We're going to go more in depth on the first time home buyer process today. You guys should be able to see this is the first page, and this is a market report that's generated by Treb. Basically summarizes how the market performed in the 416 and the 905, basically within the GTA core and within the outskirts of the GTA. So I'll read the first paragraph here. I'll just summarize it. So the Toronto Real Estate Market Board, very popular today, Asim. So the Treb forecasts. When the market report starts out with Treb forecasts and doesn't get into what the actual numbers are, then I think that just signifies that the market was slow this month of January. So they're saying that they're projecting 76,000 home sales in 2025, up 12.4% over 2024. So that's the forecast for this year. Lower borrowing costs, coupled with ample supply, will improve affordability and prompt more buyers to move off the sidelines. So these are the expectations from Treb. The average selling price will reach 1.147, so 1,147,000, up by 2.6% overall from 2024. Again, this is a projection for all home types combined. So whether that's detached, semis, condos, that's the expectation, 2.6% increase. Price growth will be stronger for single family homes as compared to the well supplied condo apartment market. Now, I won't get into these other two paragraphs, but I'll just summarize that for the month of January, there was reporting 3,847 home sales through Treb's MLS system. That is down 7.9% compared to the same period last year. So 7.9% is a pretty steep decline from January 2024. And the listings are up. So 48.6% year over year. Right now, 12,392 listings in the MLS system. January sales were up month over month compared to December 2024, which if you look at the historical charts, normally that is the case. But the average selling price did increase. So from 2024 to this year, 2025, to previous year 2024, the prices are actually up 1.5%. So, I mean, that might not be factoring in inflation and a lot of other variables, but overall, the prices, despite a challenging 2024 year, are up from January 2024 to January 2025 by 1.5%. And just looking at the numbers here, scrolling along, you can see that this just kind of highlights that, yeah, the prices are up, but overall the market is significantly down. If you guys want to discuss the market report more in depth, or sorry, look at the market report more in depth, then, you know, we can definitely share some information with you guys, and you guys can, you know, look into it yourself and do some homework on where the market's at. But that's all I wanted to touch upon. Asim, we'll jump into the first-time home buyer process.
Yes.
And let me just go back to my screen here. So, similar to the last few weeks, talking about the Oakville market, we're going to talk today about first-time home buyer process, and the same type of setup that we had. I'm going to be asking you questions and about the first-time home buyer process, what's involved, and you're gonna provide some answers for us, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay, cool. So let me just start this out here. Now, we both work very heavily with first-time home buyers, and we do feel right now it's a great time to, you know, get into the market. There's really good opportunities for first-time home buyers. Obviously, there's some new incentives that just came out in December that the government initiated for those first-time home buyers. Awesome. I'm going to start with the first question that I have for you. Excuse me. So, is this a good time right now for first-time home buyers to get into the market?
It is a good time for like past 1 year or so.
Yeah.
It's been a really good time, and still it's a good time.
Okay.
We are buying. This is a good time to get into the market right now.
Right.
Yeah, and the prices are down.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of competition when it comes to. There's so many choices.
Yeah.
And this is a good time to get in.
Yeah.
Especially for the first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
Like let's just say if the market will pick up,
Mm-hmm.
and right now there's a less demand and more supply,
Right.
and this is the time to get into the market, right?
Right.
So I believe it's a good time, and yeah. Any other questions?
Okay. So prices are down. So that's the big highlight. Prices are down. So it's more affordable, and the interest rates. Like, what's the prediction? I don't know. I know you don't like giving predictions on interest rates, but say some first-time home buyers looking to book a pre-construction. Do you expect that their borrowing cost, maybe 1 year from now or 2 years from now, or even if they book a condo 3 years from now, would their borrowing cost be lower at that time when they're going to get a mortgage?
Yes, it will be definitely. A lot of experts are saying that in 2025,
Yeah.
then a lot of renewals are coming, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there will be competition within the banks
Right.
for getting more business when it comes to the mortgages.
Right.
That is the reason, one of the factor
Yeah.
that interest rate will come down.
Okay.
Right now, the interest rate is coming down, but the banks they did not decrease their interest rates.
Yeah.
We are getting something around 4.20, 4.30, 4.40,
Mhm.
depending upon the situation and bank to bank.
Okay.
So
This is
this in the future, I believe
right.
it will actually come down.
Okay.
Right now, the interest rates, they're coming down and they're impacting the variable interest rate,
Right.
not the fixed interest rates.
Okay.
So in the future, of course, it will come down.
It'll come down.
But the prices are down right now, and
Right.
we are buying really good properties.
Right. Right.
And people are selling properties like under asking.
Yeah. That's what I've seen in
a lot
Oakville.
of sellers, they're selling the
Yeah.
properties under asking.
Right.
So
Right.
So for the first-time home buyers, I believe it's a good time to get
Yeah.
into the market.
Okay.
I know it's been a couple of
Yeah.
months or maybe a year.
Yeah.
We are saying that it's a buyer's market, it's a buyer market.
Yeah.
It is a buyer's market for a while now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
Mm.
And this is off topic from the first-time home buyers, but I want you to answer this question. For the people that those people whose renewals are coming up, do you have any fear for those clients that maybe got in 4 or 5 years ago at a lower interest rate, even though the rates are dropping? I mean, with their renewals, the rate's going to be higher, right, for a lot of them?
It's going to be high.
Yeah.
It is going to be high. And in the peak market,
Yeah.
when they purchase the properties,
Yeah.
way over their budget, right?
Right. Right.
And it is going to impact them. It is
Mm.
going to impact them, and this is one of the reasons. The
Mhm.
banks, the interest rate will come down
Yeah.
to accommodate them. Otherwise,
Mm.
things are going to be very scary.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. So the second question I want to ask you, Asim, is as a first-time home buyer, this is not obviously maybe a black and white answer, but how much should a first-time home buyer save for a down payment?
Again, it varies from situation to situation,
Okay.
person to person, how much saving they have.
Right.
Right. When it comes to the first time home buyer, there's a minimum down payment requirement,
Right.
right? And we discussed that in the previous podcast as well.
Right.
When we discussed what is the minimum down payment criteria.
Okay.
For the first $100,000, $500,000, it's 5%.
Right.
You know, if someone is buying a house for $1 million,
Yep.
for the first time for the first $500,000 is 5%, and from 500 to up to 1.5 million, it's 10%.
I think we have the chart here, right?
Yeah.
You made this chart before, so I'm
Yes.
gonna pull it up here and share it just to show how do you make this thing bigger. I remember you making a chart like
Yeah,
this to
yeah.
break it down.
Yeah, these are the new CMHC rules. We discussed it before, and yeah, we have a chart here.
I think this is the one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think last slide. Yeah, yeah, these ones. Yeah.
Okay.
So for the first $100,000 is 5%, which is $25,000, and up to $1.5 million is 10%.
Okay.
So yeah, that is the minimum down payment requirement.
Got it.
So it depends. If someone has 20% down payment, that is ideal.
Yep.
You know, and if someone doesn't have it, then that's the minimum down payment criteria.
Got it. And they have to qualify for this as well, right?
It depends, right? What's
Yeah.
their income? They have to consult with the mortgage broker,
Right.
or they can directly go to the bank
Yeah.
and ask the bank what they actually qualify for.
What they qualify for.
When it comes to us, we have team of mortgage brokers, and we can help them.
Okay.
We can assist them when it comes to checking how much they qualify.
How much to qualify
How much
for?
they qualify. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay, that's fair. The third question I want to ask you, Asim, again, it's maybe not a black and white answer, but how much does a first-time home buyer need to pay for closing costs? And also, maybe an easier way to answer that is what closing costs come upon closing for the first-time home buyers?
We generally take 1.5% of the purchase price.
Okay.
That's the general rule we apply, and
Okay.
it can be land transfer tax.
Yeah.
It can be lawyer fees,
Yep.
and it can be sometimes we do the inspections for the properties.
Right.
We do the appraisals of the properties.
Right.
So it depends.
Development costs.
Yeah, that is with the pre-cons actually.
Right,
That is
right.
with the pre-con. But when it comes to the resale, there are lawyer fees, there are land transfer tax,
Okay.
and there's home inspection fees.
But you're saying overall about 1.5% of
Yeah.
the purchase
That
price.
is that is the general rule.
Yeah.
It's about that.
It's about
It
that.
can be more or less.
More or less.
Yeah, but I want to mention two savings accounts for the first-time home buyers.
Okay.
When it comes to the down payment, how can they save the money for the down payment?
Right.
That is first FHSA.
First
Yeah.
home savings account.
Yeah, and then RRSP.
Right.
When it comes to FHSA, the people can save in 1 year $8,000, up to $8,000,
Okay.
and overall it's $40,000.
Got it. So they can put $40,000 maximum, but 8,000 is the minimum each year
Each year
into an
one
account.
Yeah, each year. But if it's a couple, it's $16,000
Okay.
each year.
Each year. Got it.
And this is the good thing about it. It is a tax deductible,
Okay.
and the money can be invested somewhere.
Right.
And there's no tax on the growing of the money. And
Okay.
when we withdraw the money, there's no tax whatsoever.
So basically, so if you're with a couple, the spouse, the wife can put 40,000 into her account, the husband can put 40,000 into his account. So that's a total of $80,000 in their respective FHSAs.
Yeah.
That money can be invested, and in stocks, I guess, in mutual funds.
Yeah.
I mean, this is an accounting question, and then that money that's invested grows within the account, and then you're saying that when they purchase their first property, they can use this money towards that purchase, and when they withdraw it, they don't have to pay any tax on
Yes,
it.
that's what I said. Yeah.
And do you know, like, and anything that grows within these accounts, like the stocks and the funds, if the value goes up, Do they pay tax on that?
They don't pay tax on that.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
That's a good thing about it.
Yeah,
And the second is RRSP.
right.
We can withdraw money from that account.
Yeah,
As
home
well.
buyers plan, I believe, right?
No, this is the retirement savings plan.
Right.
So,
But the home buyers plan, I think you can pull money out of the RSP towards the.
You're right. Yeah, you're
that's
right.
what it is,
yeah,
right?
That's overall. This is the
Okay.
first time home buyers plan. They
Right.
can withdraw.
Right.
They can withdraw. Like if someone is buying an investment property,
Right.
they cannot withdraw.
They cannot withdraw.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right.
And then they have to pay it back, I believe, when with the home buyer plan. They have
They
to
have to pay within 15 years.
within 15 years,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, they have to pay, and but it's a good way to save money for the down payment.
For sure. I know you're not an accountant, Asim, so I'm asking you these questions. I think we will have an accountant on the show.
Yeah.
They can go more in depth on the home buyers plan and the FHSA. These are two great accounts that first-time home buyers can take advantage of to save. So we're just simplifying. Asim is simplifying it, but he's not an accountant. We will refer the first-time home buyer to an accountant who can better go in detail on these beneficial accounts. And Asim, okay, that's great. So moving on to the next question. So you talked about closing costs. So, and actually, since we were talking about the benefits for the first-time home buyers, also the new rules. Can you touch upon those new rules that came in December for the 30-year amortization and the up to $1.5 million, right?
So previously, as I explained before, right?
Right.
The criteria of the low down payment was for the first $500,000 you have to pay 5%,
Right.
and remaining up to $1 million it was 10%.
Right. So if first-time home buyer, if you're buying a property that is $1.5 million, you're saying the first $500,000 you have to pay 5%. If you qualify 5% of that, then anything above $500,000, you have to pay 10% of that amount above it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So previously the limit was up to $1 million,
Okay.
and the amortization was 25 years.
25
now,
years.
Yeah. Now amortization is 30 years.
30 years.
So
Okay.
overall, the monthly payment, if someone is buying a home on a low down payment,
Yep.
the monthly cost will be less. The mortgage will be less,
Right.
right? So which is a really good thing for the first time home buyer.
Right. Sorry, we just have someone that sent in a message here. Mark, Mattamy Homes currently have 21 properties on discount for quick move-in collection. 2550 square feet, 1.75, and yeah, that is true. We're not talking about the really the projects on this stream. We were going over that on the last week's stream, but definitely there are projects ongoing right now where you can get significant discounts. Mattamy is one of them. So thanks, Mark, for your input. We really appreciate that. And if anyone is looking to get into the market for pre-construction, even resale, but pre-construction, there are great deals. Our numbers are here. You can give us a call and we can share a lot of options for you guys in the Oakville market.
Yeah, apart from Mattamy, there are other builders. They have inventory homes, and they are at discounted prices.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's a lot of buying opportunities right now, guys. So if anyone's looking just for information as well, just to see what might move the needle, reach out to us. Okay, so moving on. So how much do I need to pay for closing costs? We talked about that. And you talked about, so we talked about the benefits, FHSA, home buyers plan, the amortization going up to 30 years for the first time home buyers if they qualify, and the lower down payment, up to $1.5 million, they can put down less than 20% now as well,
Yes.
if they qualify. Before, if you're buying any property above $1 million, minimum 20% you have to put down. Now, up to $1.5 million, you can put down less than 20%. So those are the benefits. Moving on, so discuss the first step of the home buying process. If a client comes to you, first-time home buyer, they get you through a reference, maybe someone referred you. How do you deal with this client as a first-time home buyer? What's the first step?
Well, the way I goes, I make sure the client is qualified to buy the home,
Right,
and they have sufficient down payment.
right,
And I refer them to a mortgage broker. Of course, we have a team of mortgage brokers and banks. We send them to the experts,
right,
and then that's where they find out what is their qualification, up to how much they can buy.
right,
Right, that is the first step, and we we advise clients do not overstress their budget
Mm-hmm.
and see uh, what up to where they can go.
They can
Right?
go.
Yeah. So that is the first step, to check
Right.
how much they qualify for.
Okay.
And then we after they are sure that how much they can buy for,
Mhm.
we shop around for the properties.
Right.
Yeah.
But would you also ask the client, I mean, how much money they have in their account? Because obviously there's closing costs involved. There's a deposit that needs to be put down.
We always ask them.
Yeah.
We always ask them, and sometimes they just say they have short money.
Yeah.
We prepare the client.
Okay.
We tell them the step by steps.
Right.
Plan how can they save the money for the down payment,
Right.
and what they need to do. Sometimes the credit is not good,
Yeah.
and there's not a major issue, but they need to work on the credit.
Right.
And we tell them the steps. How can they improve their credit.
Right.
You know.
And this is the job of the mortgage agent as well, right? To
Yeah.
advise them accordingly.
Yeah, but because we are working in the industry for a long time,
Yeah.
we know that
Yeah. We
what are the
understand.
factors. We vaguely know that what are the factors.
Right.
But of course, we send them to a team of the mortgage brokers.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that a tedious process? Like, say you're a first time home buyer and you have to go through a qualification process with a mortgage agent. Do they need a lot of documents? Like, what type of documents do the mortgage agents normally require from the first time home buyers that they have to get in order? Like, do you know that? Can you answer that question? Or is that
Yes, I know. I have like of course the IDs,
yeah,
the credit report,
yeah,
their jobs,
okay,
what are the liabilities they have,
right.
and the mortgage broker advise them accordingly.
Advise them accordingly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it can be a very tedious process,
Yeah.
but if you work with the expert,
Mhm.
they can break down the process
Yeah.
and make your life easy.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. So you meet with them. You guys discuss the qualification process. What they can qualify potentially for. You refer them to the mortgage agent. They work their magic to see what can be done. You also see what is their budget based on how much capital they have, right? Like how much they can put towards the down payment, and then obviously closing costs. So that's the first step. And then what's the second step after that? Once you guys have an idea of once you meet with a first time home buyer, and after maybe this might take a few days or maybe a week, then once you find out what they qualify for, what's the next step? I guess you look for properties, right?
Coming back to the time, how much time it takes, it varies.
It varies.
It varies.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm working with the client for like 1 year or 2
Right.
years,
Right.
and they're still in the process of
Yeah.
arranging their things.
Well, they have to be motivated as well to gather their documents and send to the
Yeah,
agent,
sometimes
right?
they're motivated, but their
Right.
situation is not right.
Right.
They don't
right,
have sufficient down payment.
Right. Right.
Right? But they're working on saving their down payment,
Yes. Yes.
and I make sure that they don't get into any kind of trouble, right?
Yeah. Of
And
course.
rush into buying the home, and later on they suffer.
They suffer. Yeah.
That's not my intention.
Yeah.
So I try to make their life easy.
Makes
that's
sense.
that's why we nurture them in a way
Mhm.
that they can buy a home in a smooth manner.
Okay. Makes sense.
So yeah. So coming back to the second step, right?
Mhm.
Then we shop around for the properties.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Uh, there's a system
Yeah.
called MLS.
Right.
We send the property to the MLS to the clients,
Correct.
and if they like something,
Yeah.
if they want us to show them those properties,
Right.
we schedule a showing.
Right.
And if they like something, then we start negotiating the price, or maybe
Yeah.
we start drafting the offer accordingly.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And there was a time in 2021 where people were booking properties. Again, this is off topic from the first time home buyers, but I just wanted your opinion on it. Like, because I used to hear people were booking properties without going and seeing a property, especially investors or, people like, I guess that time, do you still see that is a time, especially you also for first time home buyers, or most of the time you have to see at least the property in person?
There was a time it was people were becoming the part of the hype.
Yeah.
They were going out of their budget,
Yeah.
and they were buying overpriced properties,
Yeah.
and everyone was rushing into
Yeah.
buying, and that was not a good time to buy the properties.
Right. Right.
And now they're suffering.
Yeah.
Now a lot of people, they are not able to pay the mortgage,
Yeah.
and they're defaulting on their mortgage payments.
Yeah.
Some people are going bankrupt as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, even my broker of record mentioned that there's a few developers that sold in 2021 50, 40, 50 houses. They're all coming back
Hmm.
because they're not getting the appraisal. So I don't want to go off topic, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So the second step,
Yeah,
as I said, after showing them the property,
yeah,
or if they like something, we want to
yeah.
put an offer for the property to
Right,
purchase the property.
right,
And what I would like to mention here, what are the terms and conditions of the offer? The
right,
main things are what are the price we are trying to buy,
right, right,
how much deposit we are going to give,
right,
the listing brokerage
right.
for the purchase,
Mm-hmm.
and what are the conditions
Yeah,
of the purchase.
right.
Most important conditions are inspection
Yep.
and finance clause. Inspection is, of course, as the word describes, we hire an inspector
Yeah,
and we inspect the property. And
yep.
if there's any issue with the inspection with the property,
Right. Mold, structural damage,
yeah,
leak, gas leak, like these type of things,
yeah,
right? That's the inspector's job to see.
yeah. Any major problem with the property, we can back out.
What
So
about for a first-time home buyer that is buying a resale property? What if they have a concern that the inspector is biased for the seller or this inspector withholds information? Is that something that inspectors can do? Or their inspectors tend to be very factual and this is their responsibility is not in the benefit of either party? Can you
Yeah,
answer that question?
I have
For someone that has a concern as a first-time home
yeah,
buyer, I know the answer to
I
it.
have never seen any inspector doing that,
Okay, good.
because they are licensed
Right.
and they can lose their license if they will do such things.
That seems
If
okay.
they'll
That's good.
manipulate the report in any way,
Right.
in any party's favor,
Right.
right? So again, here we are talking about the resale property as a first-time home buyer.
Right.
There's a different process of buying the pre-con properties.
Right.
But yeah, then the more important is then if you're buying a condo, then there's a condition of a status certificate,
Okay.
right? So basically, the way we write the conditions, that in case we don't get the mortgage approved
Yep.
in terms of finance clause,
Yeah.
if there's an issue with the property in inspection clause,
Right.
and the status certificate is when it comes to the condo,
Okay.
that it status certificate reflects the overall picture of a condominium,
Okay.
right? That what is the annual budget of the
Yeah.
condominium, how much reserves they have.
Okay.
Status certificate reflects that.
How much they're spending towards renovations and
Yeah.
repairs, that kind of stuff
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
And that condition means status certificate review. That's what we call it.
Okay.
That we can will send the certificate to a lawyer.
Okay.
The lawyer will review the certificate,
Okay.
and if there's any reservations, we can back out of
Got
the
it.
deal. We can back out of the contract or the offer.
Would
These are the three conditions which are very important.
for the first-time home buyer that is purchasing a condo and they're debating between buying a resale condo versus a pre-construction condo, would that concern be less if they're buying a pre-construction condo because maybe the wear and like my understanding is that maintenance fees on resale condos tend to be much higher than the pre-con condos. And normally, if you're buying a brand new house or a brand new condo, chances are there's not going to be that much in renovations or repairs, and it's a new condo. So would you say that that concern is less with a first-time home buyer looking to buy a brand new condo versus a resale, like a 10-year-old condo
Again,
apartment?
it depends. It depends situation to situation.
Okay.
If someone wants to buy something and wants to move right away,
Yeah.
then of course they have to go through resale, right?
Right.
But if they don't have sufficient down payment,
But what if it's a quick, like obviously you're seeing that some, sorry to cut you off, but some projects they have inventory
yeah,
and the inventory, it's a brand new condo, it's available to rent to move in 2 months, but it's brand new. So
but
I'm
that's
talk-
not pretty common, right? There are
Right.
few options of the
right.
moving.
Well, there's a lot now.
Now, yeah.
There is.
But traditionally, it's never been that option a lot, right?
Yeah.
Right now, let's just say we are buying a pre-con,
Right.
or maybe ready to move new homes, right?
Right.
New condos.
Right.
There are some implications, right?
Yeah.
Like we have to pay development charges.
Right.
What are the closing costs of that project?
Right.
The
Right.
closing cost of a new condo are different.
No, I'm just talking when it comes to the status certificate, like because the concern with the status certificate is like making sure that they're spending the money in the right areas,
Mhm.
right? That's the main part of it, and making sure that there's no funny business going on with the board that manages the condo, right? So I'm saying if you're comparing just that, just a status certificate, like those variables involved versus a pre-con and a resale, would it be more concerning to buy a resale because of, you know, I don't, it's an older property.
There are pros and
Money
cons
can
of-
be not
there are
spent the right
pros and- yeah,
ways.
there are pros and cons of the both things.
Yeah.
Both of the properties.
Yeah.
But with the newer properties, there's less maintenance fees.
Less
With the-
maintenance fees on new
less maintenance
properties.
fees.
Right.
As the property goes older, of course, the maintenance go up, and
Right.
the residents have to pay that.
Yeah.
That is the reason it
Yeah.
goes up slowly. If you see the older buildings,
Yeah.
the older the building, the more the maintenance fees.
Maintenance fees.
So, but in the high density cities, where people cannot buy a detached home or a freehold property, they
Right.
tend to buy the condos.
Right. Right.
Right now, I believe the condo market is all-time low.
Yeah.
People are not buying a lot of condos,
Yeah.
right? So there's a lot of inventory in resales and the new built condos as well.
Yeah. Madame is actually doing right now, again off topic, sorry, but Madame is offering monthly installments. So you can book a condo at Madame pre-construction. They'll be ready in 3 years. And your deposit is monthly installments, $1,200 to $1,500 per month, up until your occupancy. So it's gotten to a point where now builders are being creative with the deposit structure. And we're seeing that with other builders as well, where they're letting the client, it's basically like, I mean, it's basically like a mortgage payment in a way, but it's paid over, a monthly basis, 12 to 1,500.
And what is the average price of the condos?
Yeah, for that one, so they have two projects. They have Joshua Creek, Clockwork 4, and then they have Laurels in Milton. So you're looking at about $1,150 per square foot. I think a one bedroom in Joshua Creek, Oakville, you're looking around maybe $650.
That's a really good price. What do you
$600 to
think?
$650.
That's a good-
I think it's still high. I mean, I think it's okay. I think it's okay. I think all the prices are high, unfortunately, but I think it's okay. But the deposit structure is good for people that don't have a lot of cash flow up front. To pay on a monthly basis is pretty interesting.
But in my opinion, if we adjust the inflation,
Yeah.
the way the dollar has gone down, the
Right.
prices are fine.
Right.
That's what I believe.
Yeah, I think. Well, I know clients will differ from us when they say, "How is paying $2 million for a house in Oakville okay?" I understand where clients are coming from, but yeah, I think it's fair to an extent. I mean, the salary has not increased the way that
That is true.
that the inflation has, right?
That is true. But
Right.
if we adjust the price according to inflation
Right.
and the material price,
Right.
I believe the prices are fine.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on to another question here. This is not for a first-time home buyer, I believe, unless you can correct me. But the question is, can I buy and sell my home at the same time?
Yeah. So recently, the question is there because recently one of my client, he bought a condo,
Okay.
and later on he had to move somewhere else
Okay.
to get a job.
Okay.
So yeah. So and I had to help him in buying another property
Okay.
and sell this property.
Yeah.
And he was able to switch the mortgage of this property
Yeah.
to another property.
Mm.
Right. So
It's called porting, I think,
yeah,
right?
that's what we call it.
Got it.
So yeah, but yeah. So I want to touch again the clauses
Yeah.
in the terms and conditions of the offer.
Okay, so we're going back to when
Yeah.
you're putting an offer for a first-time home buyer. You want to touch upon the conditions.
The conditions. right?
Okay, sure.
So the finance clause, the way it works, that usually it's a five days condition.
Right.
That during the period of 5 business days, if the mortgage is approved,
Right.
then we send a waiver to the
Okay.
seller
Okay.
or the listing brokerage,
Right.
and then the deal can become firm.
So it's your job as a listing agent to send the waiver, or in another wording, to notify the other party that we are waiving our condition.
Yeah, as a cooperating brokerage,
Okay.
we are the part of the process.
Right. Right.
Of course, the client has to tell us they have the mortgage approved,
Yeah.
and then we send the waiver to
Okay.
the listing brokerage.
Listing brokerage. Got it.
And that's one thing. And then When it comes to inspection,
Yeah.
the inspector, if the report is satisfactory,
Mhm.
we have to send a waiver as well.
Who pays for the inspection?
Client pays.
So the first-time home
Yeah,
buyer.
yeah, they pays.
Why
They pay.
they're already hurting.
Yeah.
No, I know. They it's their job, of course. And the inspection, how much does that normally cost for the first-time home buyer that's doing inspection for the first time? What can they expect to pay out of their pocket for that?
Average is, I believe, it can vary from $500 to $1,000 or maybe more,
Okay.
depending upon the size of the property.
Okay.
But average, you can say from 500
To $1,000?
Yeah, that's how much it is.
Okay. So that is something that they would have to pay. I mean, even if, say, the inspector comes back and says that, yeah, there are issues in a worst case scenario, and say the listing agent notifies you as a co-op agent that the seller's not going to fix this, right? Maybe the damage is substantial and they don't want to fix that, and your client doesn't want to fix it, so then the deal becomes
It
a
depends.
wash, or
It depends, It
Yeah.
depends property to property and the client to client.
right,
What are the kind of damages are there?
right,
If
right,
there's a major issue, of course, the client would like to back out.
right,
The buyer would like to back out.
right,
But if there's a minor issue, sometimes we renegotiate the price,
right.
and we are able to bring down the price more.
Okay.
That's one of the options as well.
Is there a clause where the listing agent and the seller can put as is, that notifying that the house is being sold as is, so that's already a notification to the buyer side that whatever issues are in the house, they're not going to fix?
Usually, this is a part of the listing.
That's part of the listing.
MLS listing, right?
Right.
Sometimes the seller's listing agent, they mention the house is sold as is,
Right,
and then when we put the offer, we know that
right.
what is the condition of the house,
So at that point, at that time, is there a point of doing an inspection for the first-time home buyer?
Usually the people don't do it.
Okay.
They see the house,
Yeah.
they know they have to spend money either demolishing the house
Right.
or renovating it.
Right.
So we know upfront that what we are getting into.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So yeah. And any other
Yeah,
questions?
and so this is piggybacking onto the same question, but for the first-time home buyers, do you think that there should always be an inspection clause in the APS? Are there any scenarios where you think, okay, example, it's a brand new condo, and it's never been lived in. The client closed 2 months. The original purchaser closed the property 2 months ago, but they never lived in it, and now they want to sell it.
I always want to see the status certificate when it comes to the condo,
Right.
and I always want to inspect the property,
Okay.
no matter
How old or how new, and
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Usually, if you're buying a new property, it has a warranty.
Yeah.
We call it Terran warranty.
Right.
So usually builders, they have to come and fix the home.
Right.
It varies from 1 year up to 7 years, depending upon what's the issue.
Correct.
If it's the foundation, it's a different. If it's the
Structural is the full 7 years,
Yeah.
but then there's some things which are 2 years, 5. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it varies actually. So yeah. So I hope we explained the whole process of as a first-time home
A few
buyer.
more questions. A few more questions, but this is a big one actually for the first-time home buyers. So what happens if an offer is accepted and later the first-time home buyer changes their mind and says, I don't want to purchase this house anymore?
During the conditional period, we can back out. But if the offer is firm,
Mhm.
then our offer is firm. And whatever the deposit the client has paid,
Mhm.
the buyer has paid to the listing agent, listing broker.
They're going to forget for...
It has to be gone.
It's
Or
gone.
sometimes we can renegotiate it,
Right.
and we can sign the mutual release, and we are able to get some money back.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it is forfeited.
It's forfeited. Okay. And okay, it's forfeited. So, and what happens in a scenario where the client doesn't put I know you're doing your due diligence as an agent, you're putting these clauses there for the protection of the first-time home buyer. Hypothetical scenario, what happens if the first-time home buyer says to you, I don't want to put a condition for mortgage, I want to make my offer stronger, so I want to make it just like a firm offer, and I don't want to put an inspection. Let's start with a mortgage. I don't want to put a mortgage. Later on, they don't qualify. The deal goes firm. It's a quick firm deal, but they don't qualify for the mortgage.
Well,
right?
that is not advisable. I mean,
Yeah.
they should always put a condition.
So you would give a pushback to the first-time home buyer that no, we should put a condition.
We should put condition. During the COVID,
Yeah.
during the pandemic,
Yeah.
the market was so high,
Mhm.
and people were competing with the offers, and they wanted to
Yeah.
give a firm offer, which means a offer without a condition.
Right.
And people were, a lot
Yeah.
of people, they were suffering later on,
Yeah.
especially when the market was coming down.
Yeah.
The appraisals were not good,
We're not good.
and they were not getting approved for the price which they purchased for, and they suffered. This is not that time, but again, we
Yeah.
should be always cautious.
Yeah.
And the negotiation varies from the time to time and the
Yeah.
market to market.
Okay.
If the market is going up, it's different. If the market is going down, it's different. And this is
Mhm.
one of the reason when we say it's a buyer's market, and this is the time to buy the homes,
Mhm.
because it's in the favor of the buyers.
Yeah.
And again, I believe people complain about the price. The prices are so high.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the dollar value has gone down.
Yeah.
The buying power has come down.
Yeah.
That's why they think the market is so high.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's fair, I guess. Yeah. So in same scenario, if they're not able to get a mortgage, they're gonna obviously they're gonna, what's the word I'm looking for?
The money
Their deposit's gone.
the deposit money is going to be forfeited.
Forfeited.
Plus, the seller has right to come after the buyers, and they can
Right.
sue. And if they suffer damages, they can sue for the damages.
Right. Right.
Right. So we should be always cautious when it comes to the conditions.
Mhm.
We should, or maybe
Protect,
yeah.
work in the best interest of your client,
Yeah.
right?
Of
Protect the
course,
best
the
interest.
listing agents and the sellers, they want a firm offer.
Right.
They don't want to go through that process because
Right.
it's in their best interest.
Right.
As a cooperating agent, as a buyer's agent, it is our duty to do the due diligence in favor of our client.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. No, that makes complete sense. So I think we're coming to the end of the questions. We've been on the stream for 52 minutes, which is quite long. And I mean, we can talk all day, but I don't think people want to hear us all day. So last question, should I buy, for a first-time home buyer that's saying, you know what, I want to rent for now. I don't want to buy. If there's a situation for them where they can purchase, but say for whatever reason they have a hesitation to not buy right now, what would you say to those first-time home buyers?
Well, if someone cannot afford to buy, they shouldn't buy, right?
If they can,
Yeah.
but they're fearful of the market.
In my opinion, I have very strong views.
Yeah,
If they can buy,
yeah,
they should buy.
they should buy.
This is one of the way of generating the wealth.
Yeah,
Buying the home,
right.
especially in Canada. If you have money, you can afford to buy.
Yeah,
You should buy.
right. Yeah, that's good, and that's what I tell my clients too. It's very hard to time the market. It's like a stock market, right? If the stock is $10 and now it's dropped to $7, it's very hard to time when it gets to 4. Even if a client gets in and buys at 7 and it goes back to 11, they're in the money. But I think what happens a lot with people, both in the stock market and real estate, is they try to time the bottom. And we've seen in 1 week, it happens so fast where the sentiment changes in the market and the builders increase the price by 30, 40K. We've seen it happen in a span of 2 weeks where a project is sitting on 30 lots and those 30 lots within 2 weeks are sold. So I know the market can change fast. Obviously right now it is a challenging market. It's definitely still a buyer's market and there's still hesitation. Like we talked about, there's still a hesitation for the last few months. It's been a buyer's market, but there's still hesitation from buyers to actually make that move. And we have builders reaching out to us on a weekly basis saying, what's going on, and we're sitting on inventory, and they're also scratching their heads too. So I think we're done for the first time home buyer questions, Asim. I think we're just winging it.
But we are planning to have a first time home buyer event in our office in a couple of months.
Yeah.
And if people are interested in having more knowledge, they should visit. And we will be having some builders here. They will be they have inventory, ready to move inventory. And yeah, you guys should come.
Well, we'll give them the invitation. They need to know where we are. Yeah, definitely. We're going to have a few events this year. First time home buyers, a big one. And we'll have a few other events. Maybe we'll bring a few developers together. that are offering some really, really good product and maybe with some really great incentives. So anyone that's looking to buy, again, within the GTA, we work all over. Our main core markets are Oakville, Milton, and Burlington, but we work across the GTA. We have a lot of options for pre-construction, and there's still a lot of good deals out there. Not still, there are a lot of good deals out there for resale. And until the market does a big recovery, there's going to be good deals out there. So I think we'll cut it
Yeah.
for now. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving us all
Thank
the
you.
answers to the questions. And everyone have a good weekend, and we'll hopefully see you guys next Friday.
Okay. Have a good day.
Take care.